Welcome to A Fan's Perspective. It's your boy Boogie 45. Yeah, man, I got something I want to, just quick thoughts. I got something I want to go over today, man. So I see Abdul Robinson, aka Blue, which is Ksoo Pops, going around doing interviews. Nasty work, you know what I mean? And I just want to get a little bit into it. We're gonna get to it right now.
And when the trial came and they brought me back to the jail, they kind of slipped and they put me right next door to Ksoo. And when I was coming by, I was looking at him, but he wouldn't look back at me. And I wanted to tell him right then, man, stop this motherfucking trial. Don't do this. You know, because, okay, say he go in there and say he would have went in there and admitted to the murder. Got 30 years. It's gonna take you 30 years fighting on an appeal. I got homeboys right now. Got life sentences, been fighting for 30 something years. The only good thing about Ksoo's situation now is he got my feet on the ground.
Well, based on your cooperation, you got time served, which is around 1,898 days.
Right.
So you sat in jail for what, close to 5 years?
I sat in jail for 5 years and 3 months.
Yeah. But ultimately, you got let out.
And
All right, I'm gonna give you a little backstory. I don't know what he mean by feet on the ground. So wait, I guess you can help him get out of jail. You put him in there. That don't even make no sense. All right, a little backstory on that. I did an episode on it. It's in one of the episodes, man. You can check the episodes. I broke down the whole Ksoo trial. Now, father of Jacksonville rapper testifies that his son is the person seen killing 23-year-old in ambush murder. Leroy Whitaker and Hakeem Ksoo Robinson are on trial for the murder of Charles Lil Buck McCormick Jr. Testimony resumed in a highly anticipated Jacksonville murder trial after the jury heard last week from 3 key witnesses called by prosecutors. Jacksonville rapper Hakeem Robinson, 26, better known as his name Ksoo, and co-defendant Leroy Whitaker, 24, his cousin, are standing trial in the case that's drawn national attention and stirred deep tensions in the city's rap and gang communities. Both face murder and gun charges in the 2020 shooting death of 23-year-old Charles Lil Buck McCormick Jr. Hakeem's father, Abdul Robinson Sr., also known as Blue, took the stand Monday afternoon to testify against his son on behalf of the state. In a dramatic moment during testimony, Robinson Sr., 54, was asked if he recognized the person captured in the video recording shooting McCormick. Robinson Sr. took a long pause and appeared to get emotional and said, "My son." "What's your name?" the prosecutor said. "Hakeem." Shannon Scott, Jacksonville attorney not associated with the case, says while it might seem rare for a parent to testify against their own child based on the law, it's not out of the realm of possibility. In Florida, we don't have any parent-child confidentiality, Scott said. There's spousal, there's clergy, there's attorney, there's doctor, but there's no parent-child confidentiality. Robinson Sr., who was arrested September 10th, 2020, and accused of helping Whitaker and another man escape after the shooting, was asked why he chose to testify against his son and another family member. So it's 2 people he testified against. Both, all of them was related. "I got some health issues," he said. "I got 2 6-year-olds and an 8-year-old daughter. Robinson Sr. wants to take his daughter to the daddy-daughter dance, but he keeps letting her down. I just found out June 25th that my kidneys are failing rapidly." He acknowledged that testifying in the case against his son and his son's cousin will make his life harder, both in and out of jail. So if that's the case, why did you do it? He said, "Cooperating in the case is the hardest decision I ever had to make in my life." Yeah. Robinson Sr. was asked by the prosecutor who had the most desire to go after McCormick based on a diss song he had created and said his sons Hakeem Robinson and Abdul Robinson Jr. They didn't like it, he said about the song. Robinson Sr. said both his sons were members of the group ATK and were enemies with the rival group 6 Block, which McCormick was a member. According to Robinson Sr., when asked by a defense attorney in exchange for testifying in his case and another case as a part of a plea deal, he will now face a maximum of 20 years in prison instead of a potential maximum of 60 years. The attorney for Hakeem Robinson painted Robinson Sr. as someone who was taking a deal to save himself, which is true. While it doesn't necessarily count as making a deal with the state, Scott says testifying in cases like this can help in future court hearings. If someone testifies willingly, that means he was not forced, willingly against another individual. When that person who testified is sentenced, it can be favorable in a future sentencing hearing when you cooperate. That's why he's home now. All right, so I'm not gonna go over the whole thing, but y'all pretty much already know the case. It's out there, and like I said, I did coverage on it in some earlier episodes, so you can check that out. All right, so back to this dude. Now, this is what I don't understand. Like, when I watched the Vlad interview on Homeboy, like, he was in the streets. I mean, he was one of them ones when he was running around in the street. You know, selling dope, beating bodies allegedly, you know what I mean? All of that. He was with all of it. Right? Now, your son gets caught up in the situation. I guess he was giving him a ride. And son jumped out and, and allegedly blicked somebody, right? Now, my thing is this. It's already a shame that you sat there on the stand and confirmed the identity of your son. That's already enough shame as it is. Now you're talking about your kidneys failing, all this here, whatever, man. But for you to turn around and do a whole round of interviews is nasty work, bro. It's nasty work. And the thing is, like, Ksoo didn't even have a chance. I don't even think that he knew that he was going to get blindsided like this. He was willing to take the time, if it came down to it. But to get blindsided by your pops, who was the one that was trying to help you get away? Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing, man? But you know what? I say this, right? Ksoo pops paint me as a grimy dude. You know what I mean? He painted me as a grimy dude. And, I had a talk with one of my partners back in the days, and I said, people who backdoor their homeboy, screw over people that's close to them, what's stopping them from snitching? You know what I mean? There's two types of snitches, right? There's the ones that jumped off the porch and didn't know exactly what they was getting into, and they get in the room and they get scared when they get locked, right? Then there's another snitch that he knows exactly what he's doing, but he chooses not to play by any type of rules. You understand what I'm saying? And unfortunately, snitching is a part of the street. You know what I mean? It's a part of it. It's always been there. There's always been snitches in the street. You know what I mean? So it ain't nothing new. But to go around and do interviews after you sat there and helped put your son in prison for a life sentence, then you saying that the good thing that came out of it is that you got your feet on the ground? So I'm guessing you're hinting to the fact that you probably going to try to help your son get out of jail, or you going to be able to make moves on his behalf. Man, you put him in jail in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, man. This why I say, like, when you a real dude out here, you at a disadvantage. And there ain't no rewards for being no real dude. So if you a solid dude and you stand on your morals and principles, get the hell out of the street, because you really don't know who you're dealing with out there. You really don't know. You don't know who telling. And how can you get money in the street at a certain level or whatever you choose to do in the street and not deal with people? You're gonna deal with people. You understand? There's plenty of ways to make money legally, man. If you real and you stand on what you stand on, get out them streets before it's too late. Because this is the type of nonsense you got to deal with. I know Ksoo and his cousin, and I know they ain't thinking a million years they possibly turned around and told on him. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. It makes no sense. Now, let me go back to this article real quick. I want to zone in on something on here. All right. Testimony. Okay, let me go back to where I ended at. Okay, so testimony began Monday this is a continuation from what I was reading. Testimony began Monday with an FBI expert giving the jury a technical tutorial about how cell phones work with cell phone towers, how the information is recorded by cell phone companies, how those records can be used by investigators to pinpoint the relative locations of cell phones. The expert could not definitively put Hakeem Robinson's phone in the area of the shooting that day. He was followed by Jacksonville Sheriff's Office latent fingerprint examiner who testified that a print lifted off the slide of the gun found in the stolen Nissan matched Hakeem Robinson. So you see what I'm saying? Like, but the thing is, they don't really got to do a lot of investigating because y'all going on the internet with y'all criminal exploits. That don't make any sense, bro. Why y'all making songs about things that y'all did in the street that's active, that's fresh, that people don't know about, you haven't got caught for? You know what I mean? But I guess that's the error now. During cross-examination, Robinson's attorney clarified with the fingerprint examiner that she could not testify as to when Robinson left the print on the gun. The star witness for the prosecution, Dominique Butter Barner, took the stand Friday afternoon. Barner was offered a plea deal after admitting to driving the car on the day McCormick was killed. Barner testified that Robinson wanted to kill McCormick, known as rapper Buck, for making a diss song against Willie Addison, the stepson of Hakeem's father, who was killed in a drive-by shooting in 2019. You know what I mean? The song was played for the jury in court on Friday. Barner said he found McCormick's address on the Duval County Clerk of Court website and later drove by his apartment along with Abdul Robinson Jr., Hakeem Robinson, and Whitaker. So the Pops was with them on the hit. It's crazy. Barner was asked by the prosecution why they wanted to know where McCormick lived. Basically, so we can, handle up after that, get everything in motion, like set something up. So, it's out there, man. At the end of the day, it's nasty work, man. Stay out these streets, man, because you just never know. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with. His pops was a street dude, and you part of the reason why your son is like that. You think your son ain't hear about your reputation? You think your name wasn't ringing? And you got other family members that's in the streets too. You contributed to who your son became as a man. So getting on Vlad and saying that your son was who he was by the time you came home, if you felt like that and you felt like there was no way that you can change the path that he chose to go on, then you separate yourself from that. What you doing in the car with them? What you doing in the car with them? You know what I mean? It's just nasty work, bro. It's nasty work. And you're going around doing interviews like you rubbing it in his face. You understand? Like, you never know what you're going to come up against being a solid individual in these streets. You never know. You never know. You know what I mean? So if you in the streets currently, get a few dollars, man, and slide out of that shit, man. Find you a career, a trade, go back to school, anything but being out there, because it ain't the same no more. I think people stood on morals and principles stronger back then. Even though they were snitches and turncoats, they were real consequences for that. Now, a dude can tell on somebody, send somebody up the road for a life sentence. Next day, you know he got a Vlad interview. You know what I mean? And this thing is like, the general public really doesn't have an issue with snitches, because if that was the case, their numbers wouldn't be so crazy when they go do these interviews. The 6ix9ines, you know, old boy right here, Ksoo Pops, you know, and the countless others that then told on these cases, and now they out here moving around with no consequences. They actually are being rewarded for it. You understand what I'm saying? So, to all the youngins out there, man, you know, keep what you do. If you out there doing dirt, man, keep that to yourself, man. Don't be out here putting that stuff out on the internet, man. Unless you just want to go to jail. They're going to mean you a one-way ticket to jail, because police watch all these platforms, bro. It is what it is. You understand? But I seen the interview, man, and I was completely disgusted, man. I was disgusted. You understand? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You know. But at the end of the day, you know, just my quick thoughts. You know, it was nasty work, man. I was watching the interview today, man. It was nasty work, bro. It was nasty work. I didn't even want to watch no more of it, bro. I ain't even want to watch no more. I watched like maybe 1 or 2, and I was just like, I don't want to watch no more of that. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? And then you talking on there like you still on some gangster shit, but you just sent your son up the river for a life sentence. You went on him with the hit, and then when you help him get away, you tried to help him get away, and then you get caught and you spill the beans. Now, you wasn't the only person that told. But the fact, why you even in the car, my boy? Why you even in the car? Yo. Anyway, man. From a fan's perspective, this is quick thoughts. Stay out them streets, kids. And if you grown and you in them streets, change tracks before it's too late. Especially if you solid. If you're not solid and you gonna snitch and you gonna do 100, you know, do a whole bunch of dirt out there and catch 100 bodies and all that crazy, and then you're gonna turn around and tell, stay out there. Stay out there. You know what I'm saying? But for the people that are solid, that stand on morals and principles and got a backbone and got people depending on them, get out the streets before it's too late, because this is the type of nonsense that you up against, man. You understand? And for the youngins, there's plenty of ways to make paper. You ain't got to be in the street. You could still be fly. You could still get women. You could still do your thing, drive nice cars, but get it the right way. There's plenty of right ways out, but you got to grind for it. It ain't worth it being out here mixing up with all these different type of people, with these, you know, people with no backbone, spineless individuals like that, and 6ix9ine and the rest of them. You understand what I'm saying? So that's my piece for today, man. I'm out.